Hello everyone out there. This is Rutledge. We are live. It is Friendstream Sports. It is another Tuesday night here, and we're about to dial in here at 8 o'clock in the next couple seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and get tonight's night of Madden loaded up. I don't know about you, but I had a fantastic Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm ready for some great football action as we're playing my favorite mode of Madden, which is Campus Legends, which allows you to go pick your favorite campus team, get some star-studded lineups. Gonna go with probably my favorite team on here, and that is going to be the LSU Tigers. Quarterback Joe Burrow at the helm, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., plus a star-studded defense. This has been my favorite one to play online. Take some people on as we get sort of loaded up. So let's think out the plays for this evening. Since we've got Joe Cool in the world, we're going to do a nice, good West Coast attack. Have a good, well, maybe tonight we'll do a little run and gun. A lot of shotgun plays, but with some other running plays. Yeah. Well, what's a run and shoot? Nah, we'll run and gun. Fun and gun, more like it. Defense, I know we have uh, some great defenders in the backfield, as well as some great defenders up front. So we are going to go with a 4-3 right here. A little base 4-3, little run and gun. Never used a run and gun playbook. Let's boot this thing up. Let's have us a good time. So here we are tonight, and I want to start with the obvious, and that is Super Bowl Sunday has happened. What an NFL playoffs run we had. Multiple games going into overtime, multiple last-minute walk-off plays, a big upset by the Rams against the 49ers, which eventually paved their way into getting into the Super Bowl. The story of the Cincinnati Bengals coming up and rising through the ranks, taking down Tennessee, who was hot all season, taking down Kansas City, who seemed to falter near at the end, but taking down some major teams, going to Arrowhead and winning it in a very loud, hostile environment. Oh, they're going to be Miami? Uh-oh. It's probably going to be, we're going to see if there's a lot of 80s Miami's players on there. And a lot of 01 Miami players. But massive game, massive impact, really cool SoFi Stadium. I was even watching it with my sister and caught her a couple times. They'd show the whole pan of the stadium. She'd go, "Oh, that stadium is cute." Because, you know, it was actually, that's a really well designed facility. I was impressed. Um, just great time all around. Had all together. So, super cool football time. Super good Super Bowl time. Waiting for this game to boot up. But um, the big thing to walk away with. Uh-oh, that ain't good. Well, this is why it's live TV, everybody. I lost my connection to my person. Hey, I won though. Undefeated champs. Let's go again. Let's see what happens. Alright, let's put that one up again. Like how Madden has that goal that says, hey, go out there and win 5 games. Go out there and win 5 games. Okay, Madden. They're going to be Miami. I'm going to be Oregon. Oregon has Justin Herbert at the helm. No, I don't want to be Oregon. Too late. Already locked in. All right. Well, we're going to pass balance because it's Oregon. Tough part about Oregon is they just don't have the defense. So, you know, let's hope for the best. We'll do a 4-3 because I'm a 4-3 type of guy. All right. We have found a game. Let's get after it. Maybe we'll win this one. Um, Shout out to the viewers, by the way. Thank you for coming out. Trying to just get a little Madden action going on. We're going to play Oregon against Alabama, the Crimson Tide, in a matchup that I feel like, if done in real life, would not go very well in the favor of Oregon. They have not had the player depth. I'm sure Manny Diaz is working on that, but they have not had the player depth in order for them to link up. So I'm excited to see how this goes for me, as I know that I don't think I have the player depth to take on Alabama, as they have Devontae Smith as their returner. Whew. Okay, so Super Bowl. Um, Super really good game, very back and forth, very engaged. But I do want to point out the part of the game that I really saw that lost is that there were two penalties that were done by Cincinnati. One was a defensive holding, and the other was an unnecessary roughness right there in the fourth quarter. And this is where you get into the debate as a sports fan of, did LA win the game or did Cincinnati lose the game? And in that situation, I really think that is a throwback uniform. In that situation, I really kind of walk on Sunday. Cincinnati had a lot of pieces, but when they had, Matthew Stafford was a little banged up, but he's known to play through pain. Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't out there. Um, but defensively, they kind of faltered. They should have held their own against. They should have held. Oh, he is gone because Julio Jones is so fast. And the guy mocks us because he knows Julio Jones is so bad. This is going to be a long night. Um, but Cooper Kupp, who I'm glad he won the Super Bowl MVP because he put on a stud of a performance, but just not the performance that, we want to see out of that defense at the end. I will say, yeah, you can't kick either. Welcome to Friend Stream Sports. I will say, I was a little surprised to see the Cincinnati defense sort of allow them to come back. It really came down to at the end who was going to be the better of the two, who was going to have the ball last, who was going to make it work. And LA made the least amount of mistakes. And when you talk about football, it's who makes the least amount of mistakes, who finishes properly, who does all the right things, all the normal cliche stuff that we say, right? Well, it came down to that was the Rams, but I think it was the Bengals just let up on the defensive side. They just didn't get it done defensively, and that's where it showed. It also showed from when they had the interception and the one player whose name escapes me, but he ran out on the field. We lagged on that toss into big coverage and got picked off. But he ran on the field in his sliders and got all up engaged in that. And that's the type of behavior you see. I remember the last time I saw a team sprint the field after a good play was like Georgia was playing Florida in 2013. That's just a very juvenile behavior, and it just showed that Sean McVay, this was his second Super Bowl, his first being against the New England Patriots in Atlanta, and to go back out there and now have a second Super Bowl, this time against Cincinnati Bengals, who, you've been there before, you know what to do. Good for him. I'm sure he worked hard to prep his team to make sure that they were all ready to go, and he is a very good coach. But it showed that the Cincinnati Cap, they weren't as ready to be there. They tried to do what they were, but even that, the narrative that CBS was telling, or the narrative that was being talked about them on NBC, was very much the island of misfit toys. They are the island of misfit toys. They are not the biggest deal. They are, they're all these people. They're people that didn't belong, so now they belong here as Bengals, Who Dey, and everything, and that's great. That's a fun, cute way to spin it. However, when it comes to the who's been there and who hasn't been there notion, That's really going to make a difference when you figure out um, who's playing and who's not. So I took it as Cincinnati made some good strides. You know, when they definitely showed that they are a team to contend with, especially in a division that is, oh, go, especially a division that is down. You know, you look at the AFC North. The AFC North is not the big division that we're used to it being. Baltimore, um, while we say we like Lamar Jackson as a quarterback, they are not consistent enough to become a dominant power. Ah, Stephon Diggs again. Um, Outside of Baltimore, Cleveland, obviously Odell Beckham Jr. got out of there. There's talks about Baker Mayfield being in a trade. So there's a lot of different moves there. And then you have Cincinnati, you have the Steelers, who Ben Roethlisberger is gone. They have to replace that whole. When you have to replace a quarterback area, you don't do like New England, who had Mac Jones, and you don't get that lucky that fast all the time. They could, we could see a Pittsburgh team that could be bad. We're not used to that because Ben Roethlisberger was there. They've been consistent for such a long time. But there could be a Pittsburgh Steelers team that could be bad. Let's stop and think about that for a second. Is that possible? Maybe, maybe not. I think they did really good with a lot of the pieces that they had. There you go. Get that big sack. Down, Broadway Joe just got Broadwayed. In case you forget that Joe Namath was a member of Alabama. Every once in a while, as he's trying to sell you PenFed insurance, you hear his southern accent come out. And this guy is throwing some picks. You know what? I like you. You should get a permanent spot on the show. You're a lot of fun. Let's run the option, because I can say that out loud, because, he don't know what I'm saying. So, I say all this to say, to wrap up my point, yes, LA won. Cooper Kupp was amazing. Matt Stafford has his ring. Aaron Donald has his ring and may retire. There's a lot going down. However, is it really them? Oh, that didn't work at all. They brought too many people. Was it really the Rams pulling it together as the dream team, kind of like the way that the Bucks did last year? Or was it Cincinnati had two costly plays in the end zone that sort of gave it away? Because if those penalties weren't there, Matt Stafford was a little banged up. You could see the pressure setting in, and the defense was starting to figure out, like, hey, he's just going to throw to Cooper Kupp. So, let's block him. Now, Cooper Kupp is an amazing receiver. So, that's a feat to block him. He's been kind of a deal for them. They had to add Odell Beckham Jr. to give just another target to have in that offense. But if it's not there and those penalties aren't there, does LA close the game? Because they needed that touchdown in order to make it happen. And you can't say, well, the Bengals didn't come back. Well, Joe Burrow is not. Oh, lag and speed up. I hate when that happens. Joe Burrow is not built yet in his career to put the game on his back and go out there and win it. So that's my NFL conversation for wrapping up the Super Bowl. I want to take some time here in the second quarter, though, as I pull the grass out of Justin Herbert's face mask. Sorry, BFF Justin Herbert. We're on a 3rd and 25. I do not like the play I called. We want this one. So as we kind of look at the way that this season has gone, nobody ran off the line. Want to kind of take a look into next season. What does the strength of the two parts of the league look like? Who's going to be good? Who's not? Who is there to watch? Who's there to question mark? Here's a couple ones that I've read about that you need to be looking at. As you too get ready to monitor the different parts of the league. The people you need to watch for out there. The AFC. Next year is going to be about three big teams. That is, too hard on the punt. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and the Cincinnati Bengals. And here's why. All have good coaching. All have a pretty good returning roster. And all have quarterbacks that are young that you can keep around for a while. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. All fantastic. Now, somehow, the Chiefs just didn't look like the Chiefs when they came in the AFC Championship game. And I think it's been that more film is out there on Patrick Mahomes. More teams know how to program for him. More teams know how to slow him down and stop him. We getting to delay a game penalty here? Yeah, you are going to be backed up. Did you walk away? Oh, this guy walk away. Are you rage quitting? I think you're quitting. This happens out there. You didn't know. People will just all of a sudden quit playing when they start to figure you out. So, the Buffalo Bills. Now, Buffalo, there's two people fighting, and yeah, what is that? Hold on, let's watch this. It's as if there's a glitch of two players are stuck in that last play. Like they don't realize that they should be off, so they're just fighting out the last play. God, I love Madden. And they quit. We're 2 for 2 tonight, folks. Look at me go. Oh, man, someone got in trouble. They had to quit. Look, Tyler Lockett. All right. So, as we continue to stream live these games tonight, Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs. All the strong quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, though, he needs to reinvent himself a little bit and find a little bit different systems. He has the skill set around him, but they're not the breakthrough team that surprised people. They're not the break everyone apart team like when everyone had film on Andy Reid's Alex Smith's Kansas City team. Like, all right, we're ready for Kansas City. And then Patrick Mahomes and company would show up. Or Travis Kelce and be nasty. People are starting to figure out that team. Good coaching figures out other teams and stops them. You know, it's also tough for them because they're still in a very, very winnable division, pending on whoever Las Vegas hires as their next coach. But they're in a very winnable division, a very easy way for them to take things over, and so they have a path to the playoffs and not a tough schedule, but it's all about who do they play and how do they beat them. So, Kansas City, Buffalo Bills, same thing. Wide open division, good opportunity, good quarterback, good coaching. Cincinnati Bengals, wide open division, good quarterback, good coaching. Which of the three are going to rise? The NFC, I think, if you're looking at the NFC and you're saying, well, Rutledge, maybe the Rams will go out there again. When you have the Super Bowl get won and two people, Sean McVay and Aaron Donald, are both immediately questioned of, will you be back next year? The LA Rams are not the team you want to put your money on. That team very much showed that team was built to win a ring this year, and then we'll figure it out. Same thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were there to win a ring that year, and they did it in such dominating fashion that they said, hey, one more again, and then they lost in the playoffs, and then Tom Brady starts getting retirement questions. Go, stiff arm, tackle, swag. So the NFC has a lot more question mark teams, just like what team is Russell Wilson going to be on? Will Jimmy Garoppolo get traded somewhere, such as maybe to Indianapolis, so this way they can open up some money for Trey Lance? There is a lot of question marks out there in the NFC. If I could pick one sure bet in the NFC, one sure bet of a team, I don't even think I have one because there's too many. Where's it going to land? You got to figure out Um, you could say, well, Rutledge, Dallas won 12 games. That's true, but was that good enough for Dallas? No. Are there talks about, maybe all of a sudden us seeing Sean Payton go to Dallas, which would be weird. But then again, didn't we all think that it was weird that Mike McCarthy was going to Dallas? So, plus also the question marks with Aaron Rodgers. Will Aaron Rodgers be back? Will he not be back? Too many loops around going on in the wild NFC. If I could put one team to say they're going to make some noise next year, um, oof, it is tough. One team for noise next year in the NFC. Let's put this field goal up and then we'll talk about it. Got it. Boom. You know what? Fine. I'm going to go bold. If I could say one team in the NFC next year who you should put some money on that should make some type of impact, the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals were in a tough division this year with two teams that went to the NFC Championship game, a down Seattle, but I think, if that LA team starts to shake up, if Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded, if Russell Wilson leaves, they will have what the path to success has proven to be. Good quarterback, good coaching, winnable division. So I'm going to go out there on a limb. My way too bold as a Seahawks fan is to say the Arizona Cardinals. Why? Because we don't know what Russell Wilson's going to do. We don't know where he's going to go. I would love to see him stay, especially since I have a lot of Russell Wilson merchandise that's blue. Now, I'd hate to see him change to another team to put it on like black and gold. But you don't know. Too much NFC question marks this year. Too many. Too many, too many, too many. So we'll let that sort of settle. Let the dust settle. Then we will march along. Let's do this cover one play in a 3-4. This is going to be weird. I should have ran the 3-4 with this Oregon team. This is definitely a 3-4 team for defense. Get him. Did he drop that? Yeah, he did. I always like how there's just the one coach and the other coach. They can't use the actual college coaches, so they just kind of computer animate them. Just like you're in one color, Polo, you're in the other one. Excuse me. All right. So a lot of NFL to break down. Our second half, of course, we're going to talk about some other sports because there's a lot of sports coming up. I'm excited for halftime hot takes, which should be coming around soon. Actually, we'll kind of dive into there. We're not going to follow the traditional clock because we're at our third game for the night because we had a network issue, a rage quitter, and now we're in our third game. So let's get into our halftime hot takes as we're about halfway through the show. Halftime hot takes tonight. Oh, you got to come down with that. Quackity quack. Halftime hot takes tonight is all about one person. The MVP of the NFL season. Was it wrong? Or was Aaron Rodgers the proper MVP for the NFL season? Or should it have been someone else? My argument, it should not have been Aaron Rodgers. Here's why. The most valuable player should be someone who makes a big impact for their team. You can say, well, Rutledge, they went to the playoffs. Rutledge, they did great things. Aaron Rodgers, you say, well, he put the team on his back, though. Well, I really hope this isn't coming back. Please tell me this isn't coming back. We are going to decline that. So, yes, Aaron Rodgers led them to a great team and he put up phenomenal numbers, but as you read the stats and you look and you say, hey, Aaron Rodgers did this, 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 this. That's great. But his team was in the NFC North, a division which has not been competitive since Brett Favre left. And, actually since even Mike McCarthy left. And on a team of a Green Bay team who hasn't really made a lot of splashes and noise. This is the year people are saying, this is the year they're going to make it. The marketing campaign behind them by the media was saying that they were going, oh, that's a dangerous bounce off a player. The marketing campaign off the media was really boosting for Aaron and company to make it. They didn't make it. They didn't go anywhere. Say, well, that's not the point. It's regular season MVP. Even with that, let's talk about, who should have been MVP in my opinion, was Joe Burrow. Because look at this, second-year quarterback, fresh off a knee surgery, and yeah, that's very good comeback player of the year material, but to take your team and all of a sudden mount to become an impactful force and then go to the Super Bowl as a sophomore season in the NFL, that is more of a MVP type performance. Yes, Aaron Rodgers put up fantastic numbers, but it's kind of like in the NBA, back in LeBron's heyday of why wasn't LeBron MVP? If that's the logic, then why wasn't LeBron James MVP every single time that he was in the league and he was dominating? You know, or Kobe. Why didn't Kobe every time that he was dominating win MVP every time? That pocket is gone. Run, Justin, run. Run, Justin, run. Yeah. Yeah. Quack, quack. All right, touchdown Ducks. Why wasn't that the notion of that? All in all together, we should have seen a lot more out of the Packers. Now, it's not most valuable team. Oh, got it. It's the most valuable player. I still don't agree that it was Aaron Rodgers. Should have seen the likes of Joe Burrow. I'd even have gone with a defensive player of the year for an MVP. I don't have the stats to prove that, but I don't believe Aaron Rodgers was the right MVP. Felt very flat. Now we'll see where he goes next year, what team he lands on. I personally think you're going to see Aaron Rodgers keep this green or keep that gold, but put on some black as he's going to move down to Mr. Rogers' actual neighborhood into Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But more on that for another day. Let's talk about some other sports outside of the world. First of all, if you're following along in the soccer world, it is the Uefa Champions League. If you're not familiar, this is something that we like to talk about on this show because it's actually a really neat tournament. It's good to see other sports out of the world. The Uefa Champions League is if each country, or in the United States, let's say if each region had a whole tournament and they played a tournament, it is their professional teams get that ball. Well, at least we stopped him. Is their professional teams playing, and there were some big games. Paris Saint-Germain, known as PSG, played Real Madrid, which is a very other great, fantastic club. Those two played today. PSG won with Mbappe scoring a goal in the 90th minute plus 4 minutes of stoppage time, which is huge. That's like squeezing in right at the end walk-off kick. So that is a massive opportunity. Manchester City, the English club, beat Sporting CP today, a total of 5-0. That is a beatdown in the soccer world. All games took place before the first hour of the game was completed. So they really nailed them away. Of course, the Champions League goes through a round-robin phase. Oh, we are not paying attention. Champions League goes through a round-robin phase, and then it goes into a knockout phase where they play 2 legs. So we're still going through some of the first legs for some teams. Tomorrow's first legs, you're going to have FC Salzburg is going to play Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, of course, is out of Germany. And you're going to have Internazionale is going to be playing Liverpool. Both big games. Very big deal for what the Europeans are doing. I like the Champions League a lot. I think it's really super neat. I think the Super Bowl for us is a bigger one-time event. Also keeping in mind we're watching the World Cup this summer. This is a World Cup summer. So we are holding our breaths hoping the United States men's national team can make their way. They do not play a World Cup qualifier again until March 24th when they are going to play Mexico. They had a very big, last time I was on, a big game that they had 3 games back to back to back. They went 2 for 3, but they lost 2-0 to Canada. Currently, they're sitting second place in the World Cup qualifying for the CONCACAF region. So we are hoping to see them make their way into the World Cup this year as it goes to Qatar. Of course, even if the U.S. goes, there are still some big programs out there. The U.S. gets some great national rankings, but we'll see how they do. Connection to my peer has been lost. Connection to my peer has been lost. That's third game, everybody. That's not good. That's not good at all. Also, Madden says that I was winning 6-0 because I scored, and yet it gave them the win. Huh. Well, let's jump into another one. We're going to go be LSU now since we talked about Joe Burrow so much. In the world of soccer rankings, though, did want to give you kind of the world soccer rankings right now. United States is 13th as we're sitting around. United States is 13th, second highest in CONCACAF behind Mexico. We're going to be LSU. Actually, let's be Ohio State because I have not played as Ohio State yet. But your top 5 are Belgium, Brazil, France, Argentina, and England. So that'll be some interesting matches to see. The Italians are sitting there at number 6. Former co-host of the show, Connor, used to say never sleep on the Italians. So big matches out there coming around, getting going. You never know. So soccer, of course, heating up. Major League Soccer is coming in as well. Major League Soccer starts a little bit later this month with their first game. Pulling the schedule right now. Major League Soccer, they get their first real games coming on the 26th. So at the end of the month, we'll be into our American soccer leagues, which will be interesting in a World Cup year because you'll have some of your bigger players out on loan, which will impact some of your teams. Orlando City doesn't really have to worry about that anymore because Kyle Larin did get sold off finally instead of being on loan for the time that he was. Not Kyle Larin. Daryl DK did get sold off, being with his European club now, no longer hanging out in Orlando. So that will free up that more consistent spot. This is a horrible kick. But lots going on there in the soccer world. So this brings us now to some next other things and talking about NASCAR is coming. If you didn't get to watch it, NASCAR went and they have a new car, a next generation car, which they are using that they're putting out there and they put on the track and they race together at the LA Coliseum where they had a short track race to which Kyle Busch took home the victory. But the big thing that sort of was interesting with that is there was a lot of breakdowns. It was the first thing for the race. It was a quarter-mile track, which is way too tiny for the amount of horsepower those cars have. While neat and kind of gimmicky as NASCAR's trying to do things, didn't do it as well as I wanted to see them do with the race. It didn't feel as competitive. There was a lot of mechanical issues with some cars. People broke down. That facility, you don't get your traditional pits, so really, if anyone broke down, especially in the Busch race, they were just done. They just like, oh, your car's broken, we're done. Because it was a short clash. So, a little disappointed with how that went over. I am interested to see how they bounce back with that in Daytona. Now, the one thing Tony Stewart did say is, oh, well, the cars aren't used to being this hot. There's no air in the Coliseum. Well, drafting in Daytona in March, or excuse me, this coming Sunday in February, is going to be just as hot. So I don't anticipate that to be any different. I think we're still going to see some troubles. A super speedway race for NASCAR is much different than a short track race because the cars are going at one consistent speed over and over and over again. Where a short track race, your cars, you get a little bit of brake is just in and out of the throttle. But this is a put your foot down on the gas and go. So it's going to be a big push to those cars. I think we're going to see some more mechanical issues coming up with those vehicles, but that remains to be seen over time. So, man, the network issue right now is just struggling. We are not connecting in the way we are. I might have to shut down some devices. So, that hasn't been going as good as we want it to with NASCAR. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. I did read today the Daytona 500 is sold out, which I've been a big supporter of that sport. Good to see that there's going to be a lot of people there. Good to see it's going to be a good time for them. That sport needs the support out there. We are not covering anything on this defense. Joe Burrow is 5 for 5 here against the against the Scarlet and Crimson of Ohio State. This playbook's got to have some man coverage in it. So they're not going to slow down. There's Marshall Faulk in the backfield. This could be bad. It was bad. Like how tackles in Madden, whenever someone gets hit, it really looks like they're just getting hurt. All right. Well, as we march along, I want to get into our last topic here of the evening on this show for Friend Stream Sports. Ugh, we just parted the Red Seas for that run. And that is, we're going to talk a little basketball. Off-season, the mid-season trades has happened for the NBA. The NBA is up and going. We're going to talk about who's good right now and who's not. This will be where this show transitions into a little bit more basketball and we start having a little bit more chats under the hoop. But I'm telling you, struggling. Sorry, I'm distracted by just how my team just can't seem to be reacting properly. Are they going? They're going for 2. Jerks. Hey, that's a good pick. There you go. There we go. Okay. So the big storyline of the offseason trades is, of course, James Harden traded away from Brooklyn to Philadelphia. Watched a local Philadelphia news broadcast of him like as if the 76ers were a high school basketball team. And he said he feels really good about being there. He's very excited to be there. He believes that the Philadelphia 76ers have a great fan base. Um, He alluded to not liking his situation in Brooklyn, but didn't fully go into it. He also called Joel Embiid like the best big man in the game. Why do we have such a bad snap? Um, and now we threw a pick. So there was a lot there to unpack for his little interview. If you really are someone who reads too much into that type of stuff. But good to see him there with them. Give you some kind of standings. Your top 4 in the East right now are touchdown by Odell Beckham because no one can get to him. Miami, then Chicago, then Cleveland is number 3, then the Philadelphia 76ers. Of course, that should change. The West is Phoenix and Golden State, and Memphis and Utah. And I want to put our attention to the West because the big teams to look at that are not doing well is obviously LA and Portland. Both those are very down. Neither have winning records. Phoenix is still consistent. Suns are still making an impact. The Warriors seem to be just right back to where they were with Steph Curry back. Memphis, though, and Ja Morant is really becoming a force to recognize in the NBA. They're 40-18, which includes being 20-9 at home. So they have even a home and away record. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Great overall position by them. We'll take a look even to them a little bit later. In our basketball season. Miami leading the way with Chicago sitting there in second place. So different sort of mix-ups in the East. Watching those teams sort of take off. It is 13-0 in this game. And then, of course, we have Cleveland and Philadelphia. So Milwaukee's sitting there at 5th. And then you have Brooklyn and Atlanta sitting at 10th, and Washington is sitting at 11th. Remember that 10th spot, that 11th spot is where you don't want to be because that's going to put you outside of the playoffs. So we have a lot of basketball left to be played. Of course, it's early. We're now, we're into mid-February, but this is the part where the season really sort of starts to get crunch time. This is where you really start to be putting together runs. This is where you got to have good weeks. You've got through the trade. You have the team you have. Now, are you going to be a contender or are you going to be thinking about next year? Or were you Orlando Magic who's already thinking about next year? So, did that one count? Or are we out of bounds? Oh, we got it. Uh-oh, little first quarter action. Why are we punting? I do not know why on first down Madden said punt the ball. Well, here we go. And we got nothing. That's a pick. Nope, we just got nothing. They were sitting there in zone. We had nothing. Okay. So basketball's kind of up in the air right now, a little bit different. Soccer's on the loom. NASCAR seems to be going to be popular this season. It's going to be a good winter spring of sports. Soon we'll be talking about spring training and baseball. Can you believe it? Oh, swatted down. But as we sort of wrap up for the evening, the big thing I want to say, at least going into this basketball season, is I want to see what this 76ers trade will do. James Harden has always been a great producer, but he's not been a great finisher in the season. You think he's going to be on fantastic teams, and they don't seem to get it done. Also, how is this Cleveland team going to amount? What is Chicago going to do? Justin Fields outruns that dude like whoa and gets the first. Um, so a lot of questions here in the East. Then in the West, who rises out of the West? So a lot to think about as we go through this year. I'm going to finish up this game, but that's all I have for tonight. So I'm going to sign off for the evening. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. Make sure to get you some Daddles coffee. Use that promo code for 15% off, daddlesonline.com. And let's see if we can finish on a high note, get completing this pass. And we do. We'll stay on a little longer together, see if I get this touchdown. Oh, this RPO could work. Nope, swatted down immediately. We'll try for this touchdown. All right, here we go. We're on the 1 yard line. Oh, I'm always a big fan when you're on the 1 yard line, you sweep it. We have Ezekiel Elliott. They're gonna put me on the half. Except in Madden, you can't be on the half. All right, let's close the show with some points. Go Zeke, go. Little toss. And we are in because once you start moving, you can't stop. So that's the way I want to close this. Thanks for coming out for French Green Sports. I'm Rutledge. Have a good one.